Twist your fate if you wish to kill. You are still beautiful, precisely because I cannot possess you, you damned he exclaims. Kim Woo-jin let out a sigh of relief. Phew, I'm glad. Finally, it's not crashing. He stared at the screen before him, satisfaction blooming in his chest. I put in all this effort for this one guy. He finally fixed the persistent bug that had plagued the nullification of engagement route. My name is Kim Woo-jin, he thought with a tired grin. That's it for today's overtime. Woo-jin was a game developer in South Korea, a country once regarded as barren ground for console games. That was until Ryu appeared like a storm, producing one hit after another. In no time, it became a studio recognized worldwide. The game he was testing now was their magnum opus, an AAA title into which the studio had funneled all their profits and investments. In other words, Woo-jin mused grimly, we're fucked if this game doesn't do well. Glancing at the screen, he noted, playtime is 11 hours, huh? The core of this game was its difficulty and story, both of which changed based on the player's choices. Despite being a single-player game, its highly advanced AI and carefully designed named characters drew heavy attention from the gaming community. With a wealth of character classes, knight, mage, explorer, demon, demon hunter, noble, king, and more, the game offered players unmatched freedom to carve their own destinies. If this game succeeds, Woo-jin considered, we'll be rolling in cash. But if it flops, the studio will go down with it. He turned his focus back to character settings. The reason I've been working overtime for the past few months is this guy. Dekulin's death. Dekulin van Grahen Ukline, an intermediate boss in the game, a named villain. Woo-jin had spent countless hours fixing errors because of all the branching routes this character possessed. But now, finally, he managed to clear one, the death by fiancé route. Well, it makes sense considering all the schemes he pulled, Woo-jin murmured. Just then, a voice called out, Woo-jin. He looked up to see Inu Ara, the team leader of his development team, and his ex-girlfriend. They'd been together for 7 years. Woo-jin, naturally lazy, had been drawn to her relentless work ethic. She had ambitions that pushed him to be better, though in the end, he couldn't change. I heard you were struggling because of the bugs, she said casually. 6 months after our breakup, Woo-jin thought. I heard she had someone new. I guess it's going well with your new man. Inu Ara blinked. The rumors spread well in this company. Well, I think it's going well. Woo-jin swallowed the sting in her words. It didn't feel good to hear that from her, however, he exclaims, he hopes she get married to him then. Stop being so petty and keep at the bugs, she chided. Ah, and you're gonna need to make some changes. Some things were changed on the story's end. Again? Every time, Woo-jin groaned. Are you sure he's just an intermediate boss? He seems really killable. Well, that's both the game and Dekulin's charm, Inu Ara replied. The more the scenario progresses, the stronger Dekulin becomes. The difficulty of the game depends on the player's choices after all. She paused, then smirked. Did you know? The model of this character was you. What? Woo-jin's jaw dropped. Did you not notice? You two look alike. I only met the artist like twice. That's why I kill him as soon as I meet him in game. What? Your personalities are similar too. His last words are you damn. How are we similar? Well, enough chit-chat. How's the game experience? She asked. The game itself is fun, but I don't like that the fate of the studio's hanging on this game. You don't need to worry about that, she assured. It's definitely gonna do well. The gameplay trailer was a hit, no? Isn't that your little boyfriend over there? Woo-jin teased. Ah, look, he's waiting for you. It's already so late. What are you doing? Don't keep him waiting. Go to him. Yeah, I will. Good luck, Woo-jin. Goodbye. Woo-jin sighed. I'll test Dekulin again. He stared at the screen, studying the villain. The artist is harsh. You're telling me this guy is me? 6 attributes, and the combination of whiz kid and average mage. When he was a child, Dekulin was called a magical genius, put on a pedestal, but in the end he was just an average mage. And because of his arrogance and noble bloodline, he ended up with the worst personality. Would he even be considered human? Well, Wu Jin mused, he's supposed to get stronger as the scenario goes on, but he's already surrounded by people who hate him. Can't we put in another personality trait? Something that isn't too conspicuous? He's supposed to be molded after me, so let's see. Attribute? Comprehension? Is it something like empathy? He chuckled. Yeah, become someone with more empathy than me, at least. Wu Jin began adding positive attributes, one after another. This too, maybe? This is nice. And this... Before long, he realized he'd added quite a few. Embarrassment flushed his cheeks. I better revert him back before a problem occurs. Just as he was about to call it a night, his inbox pinged. Geez, that scared me. Who's emailing me now? It was the story writer. Ah, yes, is there something you want to change about the model? I can change it right now. No, I was just waiting to take a look. What? Right now? Wu Jin typed back, puzzled. Sorry? What do you mean? Ah, do you mean you want to see the finished model? Puhehe. No, take a look outside the window. The window? Wu Jin turned toward it. What he saw made his blood run cold. The sky. It was as if a hole had been torn in it. What the heck is this? Where am I? Voices surrounded him. So, child, do not forget, a man warned. Be wary of him always. Dekulin is no tame man. He may be hesitant now, but he can act at any moment. He's just downplaying his own talents right now. He is a vile villain. A woman's voice called out, furious. Get up right now, Dekulin. How long are you going to sleep? A maid stammered nervously. Miss, please calm down. How can you call yourself a person? Wu Jin, or rather Dekulin, opened his eyes. Ah, I see, he thought. It's been a few days since I've possessed this body, but it still feels like a dream. The woman glared at him. How long are you going to stay cooped up because of some woman? Are you trying to shame the entire household or what? I'll leave the papers here. Get up and move if you don't want to get fired. After the day that strange-looking sky appeared, Wu Jin had woken up in this strange body, in a strange place. It had already been a week since then. The scenery was somewhat familiar, painfully familiar. It confirmed his growing suspicion. I'm in the world of the game I made, it seems. And worse still, in the body of the most hated, irredeemable character, a man fated to die no matter what. I became the villain, Dekulin. It had been a week since Kim Woo Jin arrived in this world. At first, he thought all of it was just a dream. But as the days passed, the vivid sensation of life around him forced him to accept the truth. Could this be some kind of afterlife because I died from the lightning strike? Wu Jin wondered. Well, whatever. One thing was for certain. He had literally become the villain of the very game he had been developing. Dekulin von Grahan Uklein, a middle boss in the game, no matter which route one took. The root of all problems, the enemy of everyone. A man who had caused suffering for countless characters. Why did I have to end up as the named villain? Another major problem gnawed at Wu Jin. He had no idea where in the story he was. All he knew was the total amount of mana he possessed, but even then, he didn't know how fast it would run out. There was no way to prepare. I'm not joking when I say that everyone, including myself, tested this game around 1,000 times during development, Wu Jin thought bitterly. And this character only survived once. Dekulin existed solely to die and fulfill his purpose as a mid-boss. He picked up a document from a nearby table. Is this the document that the other guy left? Yeriel von Grahan Uklein, the woman who had thrown this bundle of papers at him while he was sleeping. Dekulin's half-sister, currently serving as the head of House Uklein in his place. The notes clarified, doesn't have a good relationship with Dekulin. And the woman Yeriel spoke of is probably Julie, Wu Jin mused. I'm assuming Dekulin currently had something happen with his fiancée Julia. Yeriel's voice echoed in his memory. I'm leaving you these documents, so if you don't want to get fired from your fancy professor job, get up right now. She said, Professor, the lecture is today. Wu Jin grimaced. He had never given a lecture in his life, but this was an opportunity to gather information. More than anything else, it was the words floating above his face when he woke up, and Yariel's threat that made him feel like he should get moving. Dekulin could die because of Yariel. Anyway, that store currency is quite important. But what was he supposed to lecture on? Some might worry, but Wu Jin wasn't too concerned. This body has the attribute comprehension, he remembered. Before becoming Dekulin, Wu Jin had given him this attribute to grant a touch of empathy. It was a unique grade attribute that only appeared later in the game, so there were probably hidden effects. The clothes and bathroom felt unfamiliar, yet he moved through them without thought. It's like I've lived as Dekulin my whole life. Normally, he'd feel out of place wearing such elegant attire, but now it felt natural, even comforting. This is another one of his attributes, intimidation and dignity and aesthetic sense, Wu Jin thought. It's as if it's telling me this body is mine now. He didn't even feel inclined to speak rudely. The formalities that Kim Woo Jin once found stiff now felt like second nature. Although his main goal was to gather information, his walk toward his first lecture felt completely natural. I'm a noble, a superior member of the nobility. Kim Woo Jin, a completely regular man from South Korea, objectively tall and handsome, and to quote someone before their breakup, a pathetic lazy bastard. That was him. Yeah, I'm not going to lose myself. I won't let my guard down. He rode in an opulent car. I've never been in a car this nice before. Damn, thinking about expensive cars made him remember a particular incident. It's still Who's this guy? Ah, P. Professor. Good afternoon. Hey, here it is. Is he Dekulin's assistant? Maybe his secretary? Wu Jin asked. Hey, are you a wizard? The young man blinked. Huh? I've been at your service for 3 years already. I'm joking. The assistant handed him a document. Wu Jin examined it. I thought it was lecture material, but it's just a script for me to read. It's got all the information for the lecture, start to finish. Guess there's no way he prepared it himself considering how prideful and untalented he is. This guy must have done all the work. He gave a faint nod. Good work. Pardon? Get some rest till we reach our destination. The driver glanced through the rearview mirror, wide-eyed. Master gave a compliment. Yes, sir. Understood, the assistant stammered. Just how much of a terrible person am I? Wu Jin thought. I feel sick from having complimented someone. Is this Dekulin's true self? He felt it earlier, but it seemed Dekulin's consciousness was slowly invading his own. We've arrived, Master, the driver announced. This was Dekulin's workplace, the Imperial University. The letter noted Roteo Hall. Students murmured excitedly. We finally get to listen to Head Professor Dekulin's lecture. I've heard he was the master of spell interpretation. Yeah, he was apparently a child prodigy. Dekulin stepped to the podium. Attention, everyone. My name is Dekulin von Grehan Euclin. I have taken this class as the head professor of the university's magic tower. Now I'll begin my lecture. Wow, he's handsome. And he's smart too. How cool. A young woman named Ephorine clenched her fists. That's cool. Ha. At last we meet. The enemy of my father. Dekulin, you trash bastard. 3 years ago, Ephorine's father took his own life. For years, he had dedicated himself to the study of spell interpretation, only to have his life's work stolen from him. The shock and despair of seeing his thesis extorted by another left him broken, and in the end, he chose death. The one who had stolen it was celebrated by the people as a genius of spell interpretation, Dekulin. Ephorine could do nothing. After her father's death, she lost everything, their noble house, their lands, their possessions. She was left with nowhere to go. It was then she made a vow. She would get her revenge. From that day forward, she worked relentlessly, eventually gaining admission to the Imperial University, where Dekulin served as a professor. She knew what the others didn't. His famed abilities were a facade, stolen glory built upon her father's work. And now, standing in the position that should rightfully have been her father's, he remained as smug and unbothered as ever. Ephorine burned with the desire to expose him, to destroy him. But she knew she needed time. Perfect revenge demanded patience and preparation. In the lecture hall, Deculin addressed the students. Introducing himself as a senior professor at the Mage Tower and a monarch rank mage, he began the lecture on magic theory. He explained that magic was divided into 3 properties: origin, elements, and material, and 9 categories including summoning, spiritual, destruction, and others. As he spoke, he noted with satisfaction how smoothly the lecture was going. Though it was his first time teaching magic theory, a subject unfamiliar to him, he found himself perfectly understanding the script in front of him. His traits, intimidation and dignity, commanded the students' attention, while elitism prevented him from feeling any discomfort under their gaze. It felt natural to him. Deculin continued, explaining how mages typically stored mana in their brains, knights in their hearts, and others in their dantian, a place where internal and external mana intertwined. He emphasized that while hard work was important, talent and careful focus were equally necessary. It was a fitting piece of advice for Deculin himself, as his own talents were not extraordinary. Though his current mana was 3,375, there existed named characters with over 30,000. But, reading from the script, he carried on. As the lecture ended, he hesitated over the final line. The real Deculin wouldn't have read it. He looked around. "Does anyone have any questions?" When no one answered, he prepared to leave. Then, Ephraim stood. "Professor Deculin," she called out. She explained that a mysterious spell had been discovered at the mage dormitory the previous night. Some even suspected it was the work of a devil. She challenged him, the so-called genius of spell interpretation, to share his thoughts. Deculin stared at her. "You there, are you truly a part of the Mage Tower?" She was caught off guard. "I beg your pardon? Why do you ask?" "It is customary to announce your affiliation before speaking. I will not accept questions from a child who lacks basic manners." Deculin realized that comprehension consumes an enormous amount of mana. He understood the script on the lecture, but he used 1,300 mana, so he doesn't know how much mana will be consumed on a spell he have never seen before. Ephraim's face burned with humiliation as the other students chuckled. But she wasn't done. "Wait a second. The Mage Tower refuses to interpret it, dismissing it as a rumor. But I believe you, Professor, can figure out what category this spell belongs to. I formally request your interpretation." She insisted that a group of debutantes had tried analyzing it but made no progress. Deculin glanced at her. "It's barrier magic." She blinked. "Eh? There's no need for a hint. It's a barrier magic in the enchantment category. Someone tried to trap you inside it, that's all." Seething, Ephraim muttered under her breath. What an She had shown him an unknown spell, and instead of a proper answer, he insulted her for forgetting to introduce herself. And what's worse, he called it an enchantment spell, which made no sense, since enchantment magic typically required a medium, and there had been none in the spell she showed him. She was certain he was bluffing. "I just bought the unknown spell that was drawn on the dormitory's front door last night. Well, it was quite chaotic at first, but its purpose was to increase the freshman's research skills." Later, another girl approached her, excited. "Ephraim! The magic circle from yesterday. We finally figured it out after reworking it as a barrier." Ephraim blinked. "Eh? I'm amazed! We were too afraid to ask the professor ourselves, but you had guts." Ephraim's mind reeled. "Hold on, you're saying it really was a barrier?" "Yeah, isn't Professor Deculin incredible? How did he know it was an enchantment spell without a medium?" "No way," Ephraim whispered. The girl smiled. "Thanks, Ephraim. We're submitting a report on this. We'll add your name too." Yeah, thanks." Ephraim forced a smile, feeling a heavy weight settle in her chest. It must have been a lucky guess, she told herself. In the end, all she'd done was help raise Deculin's reputation. But she wasn't giving up. A lecture with Deculin this semester meant she would be facing him daily. And as the saying went, if you know the enemy and yourself, you need not fear the outcome. She would prepare herself. "Just you wait, Deculin," she vowed. "I will expose you soon." Deculin let out a breath. That had nearly turned into a disaster. The moment his eyes fell on that magic formula earlier, his understanding had triggered on its own, completely independent of his will. a magic circle formed by countless overlapping lines. Just looking at it had caused his mana to drain at an alarming rate. Even with twice his current mana, it would have been difficult to fully comprehend the principles of that spell. Still, he was relieved he managed to get through it without incident. A voice called out to him. "It's been a while." Deculain turned. Snow-white hair, transparent eyes, a face he'd seen multiple times on the monitor. Julie, Deculain's fiancée, and a named character destined to reach the pinnacle of knighthood. He hadn't expected to run into her here. "Well, let's just say I've been doing well," he replied. Julie's gaze hardened. "You've been doing well? Even after breaking the promise you made to me a week ago?" Deculain froze internally. What promise? He had no idea what she was referring to. Best to play along. "I must have forgotten due to being ill for a while," he said calmly. "Would you mind reminding me what promise we made?" She stared at him, unamused. "Promise me. If you uphold your integrity and confess all the falsehood and deception you've committed until now, even if the world collapses, I will be with you forever. But it was a mistake to trust you. Leave." "Well then, I will take my leave," Deculain answered, turning away. Deculain and Julie had been engaged for political stability. Deculain, the prodigy mage, and Julie, a knight born with unmatched talent. If the two achieved harmony, it would be a union beneficial to both their houses, the prestigious Euclene and Frieden families. No one had opposed the marriage. It was their duty, even if there was no love between them. But over time, the truth emerged. At some point, both houses came to realize that Deculain's genius was a facade. Perhaps he refused to accept it himself, but he'd deceived the world, claiming to be a spell interpretation prodigy and securing a professor's title. A newspaper headline marked the shift. The fall of a prodigy? The youngest senior professor of the Mage Tower's history, Deculain shows no progress in his research after 3 years. His once glorious achievements had come to an end after a certain incident. Even so, Euclene and Frieden kept it quiet. Neither house, tied closely to the political world, could afford to become the subject of gossip. But Julie could not forgive the deception. She could endure a loveless marriage, but not a lie that deceived the entire world. That was her conviction as a knight, and that had been all there was to it. Deculain sighed. "Fine, I'll do as you wish." Julie's expression darkened. "You clearly agreed to it. In the end, you still broke our promise completely." Deculain took in the Imperial University. It was the most prestigious university in this world, with the Mage Department as its final boss. If compared to modern Korea, it was like Seoul National University's medical school, and the Mage Tower its university hospital. A vast campus with a meticulously maintained garden. The place had a striking resemblance to American college campuses. Deculain remembered pulling all-nighters with his team to design it this way for the game. If he weren't walking through it in this current tangled situation, it might have been quite pleasant. A sudden, awkward voice called out, "Quack! Oh no! I'm so sorry. I had something urgent to tell you, Professor, so I was following you and—" Deculain's eyes narrowed. It was that guy from the carriage last time. For a moment, he thought it was an ambush. "Ah, it's you. Your name was Zoro, wasn't it?" "Ah, no, it's Alan. I mixed them up." "Ah, sure. They sound totally different, though." Deculain raised a brow. "So, what was so urgent?" Alan quickly handed over a document. "Yes, Professor. This is the sponsorship list for this year's new mages." Deculain looked it over. The Mage Tower, like real-world research institutions, required research funds to conduct meaningful magic development. Professors provided annual sponsorships to promising new mages. One name on the list glowed in gold, likely a result of Deculain's traits. Wealthy magnate, rare. A born magnate and exceptional financier with unrivaled intuition for profitable things. The more information provided, the more accurate the intuition. Sharp eyesight, rare. The ability to visually perceive intuition, attributes, mana, and similar elements, primarily used with other traits. Deculain could tell these two traits were working together. That name was a profitable one. Several names gleamed, but one stood out above all. Ephorine Luna, a major named character in the game. The developer who designed her mentioned she'd lost her father because of Deculin. Yet why did Ephorine have no sponsors? Alan spoke hesitantly. If it's Ephorine, maybe everyone's being cautious. Deculin understood. They were all wary of Deculin. For someone who never attended the academy and learned magic through self-study, Ephorine's talent was undeniable. But she was also Deculin's enemy. Or rather, Deculin was hers. If things followed the game's original path, Deculin would meet his fate soon. Villain's fate. The whole world wishes for his death, but what doesn't kill him makes him stronger. In the game, Deculin died in countless ways. A sword through the heart, a wand's strike, poison, bombings, the fact remained. He died. To avoid that fate, Deculin knew he had to make different choices. Alan, he instructed, go submit this, then borrow a few books I'll write down for you before leaving. Okay, I'll be going now. Deculin watched him leave. First and foremost, what he needed was money. Some death variables could be resolved with wealth alone. Investing in promising mages was one method, but it wasn't enough. This world was filled with named characters who despised him, who would relentlessly come after him. To truly survive, what he needed was a fundamental path forward. He had to obtain his own strength. The best option for Deculin to survive was to become stronger, but his talents were mediocre. If things continued as they were, he wouldn't be able to withstand the danger that would inevitably come his way. Without proper preparation, he wouldn't survive the countless deaths looming ahead. The one relief he had was the specialty Deculin possessed. Though he couldn't control all four elements like his ego might have desired, he did possess the ability to control earth and fire, and his talent in manipulation magic was genuine. By harmonizing earth and fire to create metal, Deculin had further enhanced a special trait, Midas Touch. Midas Touch, unique, consumes the user's mana to unlock the potential of a target. With this, combined with his ability to manipulate metal using magic, Deculin could now wield what was known as the Flying Mind Sword. In truth, it was simply telekinesis, a non-mainstream school of magic. But the power it lacked could be compensated for by the quality of the metal used. To truly make use of everything at his disposal, he needed to learn manipulation magic, a method to control and command objects. It was time to test it out. The spells and knowledge of basic manipulation burrowed into his mind with unnatural ease. If he tried it now, he could do it. Basic telekinesis had now been memorized, usable without incantation. To think something he'd only seen in the settings of a character could now be used like this. Even though it was basic, the results after just learning the skill were promising. Once he moved on to advanced telekinesis, he'd be approaching the strength he sought. Now, what if he engraved the entire magic circle onto his body? In this world, the larger the magic circle, the more powerful it became. He would use understanding to comprehend his own body, and instead of limiting the engraving to his brain and heart, he would enhance telekinesis by inscribing the magic circle onto every part of his body. Of course, there was a high risk of serious side effects. Iron body, unique. Innate physical abilities and attributes. The potential of the body is of the highest caliber. But thanks to Deculin's unique attribute, iron body, this body could withstand such side effects. This was something only he could endure. He had 800 mana left. It should be enough for a trial run. The pain was excruciating. His bones shattered and muscles tore. The agony was incomparable to anything he had ever experienced. Yet Deculin did not waver, nor did he cry out. That was the dignity of a noble. An intense wave of exhaustion swept through him, his attempt ultimately failing because of insufficient mana. However, there was still some progress. A magic circle had successfully been engraved onto his shoulder. At this rate, covering his entire body would take about 2 weeks. A month after Deculin's special lecture, the first day of class arrived. It wasn't what the students expected. A board had been placed in front of them with a simple message. The professor wishes to measure your skills. Use any elements here to produce results. The students muttered among themselves. He just left a sign and gave us self-study for the first lecture. What results is he expecting? Is that why he chose an outdoor lecture hall? Where even is Professor Decollane? Among them, Ephraim fumed. Of course he does this. That irresponsible person. Giving everyone self-study on the first day and leaving a sign behind. What kind of person is he? She bumped into someone and turned. Ah, who are... She froze. That person was Sylvia von Josephine Iliad. Huh? Did she not recognize her? Ephraim was certain this was the same Iliad family. 10 years ago, the Iliads had been wary of her and her father's potential, sending troops to surround their mansion and threaten them. Yet Sylvia showed no sign of recognition. Something was strange. The mana around them was being drawn somewhere. Ephraim frowned. Excuse me, what are you doing right now? You know you stole the tower I created, right? Hello? Can't you hear me? Sylvia offered no response. The hell is wrong with her? Ephraim seethed. She's not even acknowledging my existence. Is that it? She stepped forward. Look here, Miss Sylvia. Why are you pretending not to know me? As she expected, there was no way Sylvia wouldn't recognize her. This was the same girl whose family had threatened hers and forced them to abandon magic. Now that Ephraim had returned, was she afraid she'd catch up and surpass her? Sylvia looked at her coldly. I don't even know who you are. Ephraim stiffened. Then why are you talking to me informally? I don't know who you are, Sylvia said, unblinking. But I know your father. Ephraim's heart stopped. What? That impudent, negligent noble. I heard he died. At that moment, a boy nearby pointed, calling out, Oh, over there. Ephraim's face darkened, rage boiling within her. You! What you just said! I dare you to say that again! You! I dare you to say that again! Ephraim's voice rang out, her fury crackling like static in the air. The other students recoiled. Kya! What just happened? Someone gasped. Is anyone hurt? Another called out. Sylvia stood her ground, cold and poised. Let go. Ephraim's eyes blazed. Say that again. You dare insult my father? Should I just end you here? A ripple of shock spread through the gathered students. Wait, what's that? What's with the light? Ah! What is that? A sudden void formed where their mana collided. It pulsed and devoured the space around it. That's a void? Ephraim's heart pounded. It's at the point where my mana collided with hers. It's sucking in everything around it. Hey, it's going to explode! Run away! Someone shouted. No! Ephraim shouted. If that explodes, the metal fragments will fly out like bullets, and everyone here will die. But then, silence. A sudden, eerie calm. What? It's suddenly quiet. Did it stop somehow? What? When did he get here? Before them stood Decollane, his expression unreadable. Fragments of metal and mana frozen mid-air by his telekinesis. The magic students could feel it more than see it. The intricate, precise manipulation. A chillingly beautiful demonstration of control. Exclamations of awe filled the hall. Attention, everyone. Decollane's calm voice cut through the stillness. I will pause our lecture for today. Other than the ones who caused the commotion, all of you can leave. Ephraim clenched her fists. Shit, this is... Professor Relin arrived, flustered and smug. So you two got here first. Chairwomen, Senior Professor Decollane. Really, with the diligence the two of you exhibit, you could be role models for every mage. Professor Adlin greeted them with a nod. Hello, Professor Retlin, Professor Relin. It must have been sudden for you two as well, so thanks for coming so quick. Right, Professor Decollane? Relin chuckled. By the way, who was it? The one who dared to touch the daughter of House Iliade? From what I heard, it was just some lowly thing that hadn't even made it through the academy. This is why those nameless ones. However, I heard that Senior Professor Decollane quickly dealt with the situation, preventing it from turning into a huge commotion. Retlin agreed. I've heard the same. Very impressive. Decollane thought to himself, they're openly flattering me. Since all the professors gathered here are proficient in navigating high society, the disciplinary action results have practically been decided already as well. Sylvia, daughter of the influential House Iliad, and Ephorine, a fallen noble no different from a commoner. It's obvious which one they would support, but I need to change the discipline. Ephorine lifted her gaze, her voice brittle but firm. I have a question. Deculane's eyes narrowed slightly, as if he'd been expecting this. As I expected, he murmured. I want to know, do you remember House Luna, and do you know my father died because of your delusions? Ephorine's heart pounded. Will this make him remember that? What do I do if he changes the disciplinary verdict for his own safety? But her jaw tightened. Still, if that human can't even remember my father. Deculane looked at her and replied coolly, You don't need to ask. Don't waste your potential by obsessing over what was. And in that moment, she knew. He knows. Deculane knows me, and my father. If not, he wouldn't have taken my side. Her thoughts tumbled in a rush. He helped me out of the small sense of responsibility that he feels because my father died while working under him. He only did it out of pity. But still, Ephorine sighed inwardly. I'm relieved. If he hasn't forgotten that incident, if he hasn't forgotten me, it's fine. For now, at least, it's fine. A faint system message flickered before her eyes. Villain's fate. Overcame death. Variable store currency +2 far away. In a dimly lit study, Giltheon spoke to his daughter. Ah, so something like that happened. Daughter, you won't even need to think about that kid anymore. Although Ephorine Luna definitely has the talent, she's a child who already missed her time. He paused, his expression dark. 10 years ago, the day of the aptitude check during the academy entrance test, that was when I first met her. In his memory, voices of the past echoed. My goodness, both of you have been born with the potential to reach Archmage status, one examiner had exclaimed in awe. Goodness me, 2 people within our territory? Sylvia's thoughts drifted back as well. What happened? The peak of the magical realm, the rank of immortality, eternal. She recalled the lesson well. They are transparent beings who even the Emperor can't touch. Those who reach that point are named Archmages and are etched into the continent's history. It was a strict, unyielding tradition. Only 3 Archmages could exist in the same era. It wasn't about elemental affinity or magical property. It was simply the unspoken, ancient rule of the magical world. At that time, Demakin had already reached the rank of Eternal, leaving 2 vacant positions. The chairwoman of the Mage Tower, Alden, was a strong contender for one of those spots, Sylvia remembered. So I, the daughter of House Ilad, and Ephorine, the daughter of House Luna, the branch family, had no choice but to compete for the final spot. Even without my father telling me, I knew. Giltheon's voice was cruel. Give up on sending your daughter to the academy, Kagan Luna. He spoke of old times with no remorse. We Illades trampled House Luna under the excuse of tension between the houses, but it was all because of me. It was so I could grow up to become the Archmage instead of Ephorine. Becoming an Archmage is my dream, and my duty. And now, Ephorine stood in front of Sylvia and snapped, Are you afraid that I'll catch up? Sylvia scoffed, You're just annoying. Giltheon's words came back to her, a final warning. Daughter, you don't need to mind that girl any longer. But be careful of Deculane, Sylvia blinked. Pardon. Giltheon's voice was serious. Deculane isn't as simple a problem as you might think. Although he's stagnating now, he was called a prodigy in his youth. He could regain his spark at any moment. Sylvia sighed, shaking her head. I already know that. Professor Deculane probably already saw through the trap I planted. Back then, I definitely eliminated the mana Ephorine used to attack me. Next, I planted a trap spell that would only react and explode to Ephorine Luna's mana. She recalled her flawless plan. If the incident escalated, Ephorine's punishment would have become harsher as well. However, Deculane saw through my tricks. I even carried out the plan after making sure there was no magical surveillance active in the lecture hall. Rather than expose her, Deculine had compromised. He'd said, "You didn't stop her." "I already know everything, so comply," Sylvia muttered bitterly. With that threat, I had no choice but to accept. I thought he was just an arrogant man who was confident in his talents. But just what kind of person is he? A few days later, inside the Deculine mansion, Roy's voice echoed from outside the study. "This is Roy. Are your preparations complete?" Deculine responded without looking up from the papers he was reviewing. "I'll be down soon." His thoughts drifted as he stood. As I thought, taking Ephorine's side during the disciplinary committee meeting was the right choice. I was able to eliminate the death variable and obtain some store currency. He reflected for a moment. I never imagined that the debutante to ask the question would be Ephorine, but she must have held hostility toward me even then. Of course, things could have led to Sylvia also being hostile, but I needed to deal with the problem at hand first, so it couldn't be helped. A sigh. High society activities. I wanted to avoid them as much as I could. Unfortunately, I can't ignore an opportunity to obtain store currency. A system notification followed. Side quest. Attend the social event. Flower of the new year. Store currency plus 0.5 Deculine. Straightened his collar, calculating. Since I need at least 5 store currency to access the store, I'll just leisurely check some named faces that will be at the gathering. When he arrived, a man greeted him at the entrance with enthusiasm. "Welcome, Senior Professor Deculine." Deculine's sharp eyes swept the room. Each of them seems to be from a high-ranking noble house, and I also see some familiar named characters. For example, that one. That's Ihelm, whom I personally molded. Maybe coming here was a better idea than I thought it'd be. The usual barrage of noble greetings followed. "Wow, isn't this Professor Deculine? My son attends your classes. His name is... Ah, Professor Deculine. I've been wanting to see you for a long time, Professor. Deculine sighed internally. Scrap that thought. But then, amid the din of voices, he caught something. A name. "Ms. Ganesha, I heard about your activities in the most recent Continental Journal." His gaze snapped toward the sound. I definitely just heard someone say the name Ganesha. Among adventurers, she was important to the story at this point. If I form a good relationship with her, then it will become my biggest gain from this event. His mind sharpened. Where is she? I definitely heard someone say her name. I need to use this opportunity to make a connection with her. And with that, Deculine began to move. Deculine's sharp eyes darted through the crowded hall. Where on earth is Ganesha? He thought anxiously. She must be somewhere nearby. Then he spotted her. Long red hair tied into distinctive twin tails, dressed like an adventurer. Found her! I need to hurry up and find her. Before he could take a step, a familiar voice called out, sly and mocking. Oh my, what do we have here? Isn't that Professor Deculine? Deculine's face twitched. Now, of all times? Ihelm, he greeted curtly. Ihelm's grin widened. Oh my, I'm honored that the great senior Professor Deculine remembers me. It's been a while. How's your research progressing? Deculine kept his tone even. I don't mean to be rude, Ihelm went on, but I've been hearing some strange rumors lately. What do you mean? Deculine asked. Ah, it's nothing much, Ihelm said, feigning innocence. Just that your research hasn't progressed in 3 years, and there are whispers questioning your aptitude as a professor. Deculine held back a sigh. This guy is openly mocking me. Ihelm had been one of Deculine's peers at the university, once close until Deculine secured the senior professor position over him. Since then, open resentment colored their every interaction. I mean it, Ihelm continued smugly. If you need my assistance, I would gladly... Deculine tuned him out. That sort of provocation might have worked on the original Deculine, but it's meaningless to me. He sighed inwardly, and it's not like he's wrong. The rumors he spoke of are practically true. His eyes darted across the room. She's gone. Ganesha is gone. As if oblivious to Deculine's rising irritation, Ihelm smirked. You're acting so high and mighty, but no one in this world will ever like you. So even now, I lost track of Ganesha because I had to deal with this fool. Dekulane snarled internally. He fixed Ehelm with a cold glare. Hey, Ehelm. Huh? Mind your own business and get lost, you rotten cheese of a man. Ehelm blinked, his face twitching. What did you just say? Our rotten cheese? Did you just… Dekulin didn't stay to listen. Damn it. I need to find Ganesha before she leaves the social gathering and establish a connection with her. The plan is falling apart. Around him, the chatter in the hall continued. Where did Professor Dekulane go? Professor Dekulane? Dekulane sighed, frustration mounting. Ha! Even after shaking off Ehelm, there are still so many people clinging to me. This is why I didn't want to come to the social gathering. Then a familiar voice called out, Professor Dekulane? He turned sharply. Ganesha? There she was, standing casually, arms crossed, with that unmistakable grin. Fancy meeting you here, she teased. Or, were you looking for me, perhaps? Dekulane's mind whirled. I was just trying to shake off the leeches, but I ended up running into Ganesha. More importantly, were Ganesha and Dekulane acquainted? I got lost, he lied stiffly. Hey, stop joking, Ganesha chuckled. You really were looking for me, since there's something you wish to discuss. She leaned closer, her tone lowering. About that previous mission, I'm sorry, but I returned the deposit and paid the penalty fee, so could you let it slide? Just this once? Dekulane processed her words. So we made some kind of contract in the past. I'm sorry I couldn't bring you the child with the magical talent as you had requested, Professor, Ganesha admitted, scratching her head. No, it's not that I couldn't bring her, but that I didn't want to bring her. I got too attached, so I couldn't hand her over to you, Professor. So that's what she meant, Dekulane thought grimly. He was trying to make up for his own lack of achievements by using talented children. Then Ganesha asked, her voice calm but firm. Let me ask you one thing. What is it? Professor, how long do you plan to live like this? Dekulane stilled. How long, huh? Before I possessed Dekulane's body, this man accepted flattery from those of no use to him, betrayed the trust of those around him, and hurt many people for the sake of his own reputation. However, he looked Ganesha square in the eyes. From now on, I intend to live differently. Ganesha blinked, clearly caught off guard. That's not the answer I had expected. I thought you were going to kill me, especially since I ran away after taking on a mission you wouldn't want people to know of. That's an excessive concern, Dekulane replied. Why would I try to kill her right now? With the power she holds in her hands, that would be suicidal. He assessed her calmly. I don't know about the original Dekulane, but Ganesha is a named character who can kill someone with just a single strand of her hair. Her traits included the famous Master of All and Indestructible, a true warrior and adventurer who has reached the pinnacle of physical strength. Dekulane probably didn't send an assassin after Ganesha because I possessed his body. It's different from what I had expected, but… Ganesha raised an eyebrow. Did you eat something bad today? Dekulane exhaled slowly. In the end, I achieved my goal of building connections at this gathering. I have no reason to stay here any longer. I'll be heading back now, he said, turning away. So don't waste your time worrying. You're leaving? Are you really sure? Ganesha called after him. You're really not going to order my assassination or expulsion? That would be beneath me. If it's about Euclene's power, he thought coldly, just like Ganesha mentioned, I could pressure her through the Adventurers Guild. However, if things go wrong, a death variable might arise. Villain's fate. Death. Variable avoided store currency +1. What? Dekulane blinked. It said overcame before, but now it says avoided. I didn't realize it at the time, but that conversation was a death variable? I can't feel safe anywhere, elsewhere in the gathering hall. Big sister, how long are you going to sit here like this? Rayleigh's voice whined. Julie scowled. I never wanted to come here in the first place. Ah, seriously, stop it and come here already. No. Rayleigh huffed. How have things been with him recently? Julie narrowed her eyes. What are you talking about? There are a lot of rumors going around about Professor Dekulane, Rayleigh whispered. And I'm worried. Julie's reply was bitter and sharp. Things have been terrible. You really shouldn't say that out loud, Julie muttered under her breath. Decoline. In the crowd nearby, voices gossiped freely. What? Professor Decoline is leaving already? The guy who loves high society so much? I know, right? He's even leaving without sparing his fiancée a glance. Could that be because his relationship with his fiancée isn't good? Then the rumors we heard must also be true. And so, the narrator's voice settled quietly over the scene. That day, unlike usual, Decoline quickly left the social hall. Rumors spread in high society that it was due to his conflict with Julie. But Kim Woo-jin, the man now living inside Deculin's body, had no clue about the gossip. It had been 2 weeks since Deculin attended the Flower of the New Year. In that time, he'd continued his practice of memorize and basic telekinesis, but more importantly, he'd started training his physical stamina. It wasn't a pursuit mages typically valued, but Deculin had his reasons. A near-death experience while attempting something reckless. A few days ago, I would have died if I was an ordinary mage, Deculin recalled grimly. I think I only endured it thanks to my iron body trait. After his unsettling encounter with Ganesha, a sense of urgency had crept over him. I wanted to become stronger, he admitted to himself. So he'd tried enhancing his mental manipulation by adding fire control to telekinesis, a technique already inscribed onto his mana. It was an ambitious upgrade, transferring the essence of one spell onto another. It promised strength and faster magic mastery. However, Deculin soon discovered just how reckless and dangerous it was. The immense strain it placed on the body was near lethal. Training my body has become equally important as improving my magic. Since then, he'd developed a strict morning routine, sweat and strain accompanying each dawn. He wiped his brow and sighed. Phew, it's already time for work. A knock came at the door. What's this, Alan? Alan, ever the composed butler, handed over a sealed letter. It's an official message from the Mage Tower. More precisely, it's from the Professor Qualification Committee. In 6 months, there will be a hearing to audit the progress of Senior Professor Deculin's research. Please have all the relevant materials ready by then. Deculin's face darkened. The fact that there's an audit hearing signifies that Deculin's research had been at a standstill long before I even transmigrated into his body. This situation is bad for me. In the game's original story, Deculin was always a professor. If being a professor is a quest prerequisite, losing my job could mean losing my chance of returning to the real world. I hope there's something in Deculin's laboratory, at least. He stepped inside the lab, surveying the disarray. What a mess. Looks like it's been abandoned for a while. There was dust on every surface, tools scattered like forgotten memories. There's no way the lab would be in this state if Deculin frequented it. His eyes caught on a pile of glistening ooze. That pile of ooze looks especially unnatural. Is it hiding something? A brief flicker of suspicion passed through him. I don't know who did it, but it looks like it was done to stop Deculin from touching it. With a flick of his fingers, telekinesis cleared the ooze away. Never thought telekinesis would come in handy like this. Underneath lay old notes, pages written entirely in code, a web of concealed research. Everything's written in code, as if to conceal the contents of the research. However, that's futile. A glint of golden light bloomed as he activated understanding. A blinding radiance illuminated the parchment. It must have been some incredible research. The combined effects of his wealthy magnate trait and sharp eyesight made the brilliance clearer still, but his brow furrowed. This research is incomplete. Some pages are ripped off, other parts blank. And at this section, the theory is completely wrong. Even so, despite its flaws, the research bore enormous potential. For wealthy magnate to respond like this, it must be something remarkable. A name caught his attention, a small, scribbled signature at the corner of a page. This kid, isn't it Ephraim Luna? Understanding dawned. I see. Ephraim's father tried to hide this while working as a researcher for Deculin. The mages of House Luna resented Deculin. Ephraim ended up living a troubled life, all because of him. Deculin set the notes aside with a sigh. Worry not. I will complete this research with understanding. If I can finish this research paper, I will list your name as the co-author. His lips curved faintly. Unfortunately, you can't be the only one getting the credit because I'm in dire need of results. Meanwhile, outside on campus grounds, a lively girl with cropped brown hair waved. We commoners need to stick together. It was Julia, one of the few outspoken commoners in this year's class. There are only 30 commoners in this year's class, she reminded. If we don't work together, who knows what unfortunate fate might befall us? She turned to Ephraim. Don't you agree, Ephraim? Ephraim scratched her cheek awkwardly. I'm a noble, though. Julia shrugged it off. Well, whatever. How can I uphold my authority as a noble when I don't even have land, let alone a house? Another girl chimed in. You know your presence is mandatory, right? Yeah, Julia agreed. You're our rep. She's right. You even stood up to Sylvia. Ephraim sighed. Seems like they've decided to take me on as the representative for the commoners. Ha ha ha. But one girl raised a concern. But guys, don't we need permission from a faculty advisor to create a club? I don't think any of the professors would look kindly on us gathering. Julia paused, considering. That is indeed the biggest hurdle. What about Professor Relin? A boy made a face. That fatso's known for only treating nobles well. Professor Camel? Julia offered. Don't even get me started on him. He doesn't even consider commoners people. Another boy groaned. Obviously, we can cross Professor Decolane off the list, someone else muttered. Ephraim kept silent. I wonder if they'll finish that sentence. Please don't finish it. Please. But Julia's eyes lit up. I've got it. Ephraim, let's ask Professor Decolane. Ephraim's eyes widened in horror. What? You know, now that I think about it, he's rather fair, a boy observed. Whether you're a commoner or noble, he looks down on you all the same. Julia nodded eagerly. You said you avoided disciplinary action thanks to him. Maybe he's taken a liking to you. I don't think that's it, Ephraim muttered. He doesn't seem like that type of person. Things are going in a weird direction. I really don't want to see him more than I need to. I really can't. Julia gave her a pleading look. Come on, think about it. Please? Like I said, you have it wrong. If anything, things will be worse for us if I ask him. Julia suddenly gasped. Gasp! What's wrong, Julia? Ephraim asked. A cold voice cut through the hallway. Move aside. Ephraim stiffened. Deculane? There he stood, tall, imposing, eyes as cold as iron. Deculane! Ephraim blurted out, surprised as she saw him approach. Good luck, Ephraim! Julia called cheerfully from behind, grinning mischievously. Julia! When did you get there? You coward! Ephraim hissed, flustered. But there was no escaping it now. She turned to Decolane, gathering her nerve. Professor Decolane, I want to make a club, and I need your signature for it. She rushed her words, waving the form nervously. Ugh, whatever. I won't annoy you at all. I was just worried since you don't seem to approve of clubs with peasants. In her heart, she thought bitterly, I don't want to get involved with Deculane, but she's right. It was a given none of the other professors would cooperate with them. Rather than be bothered all the time by others on this matter, she had to at least try. Deculane regarded her for a moment. Send me the details later, to my office. Sorry? Ephraim blinked. Take it, he said, handing back the form, already signed. Okay, she stammered. He really signed it? She thought in disbelief. He just agreed to it? The Deculane? Wow, you really got the signature from him? Julia ran up to her, eyes wide. I didn't expect this at all. But why? Ephraim murmured to herself. Just like back at the disciplinary committee? Why is he being nice to me? Soon after, Deculane began his lecture. Today's lesson is on the understanding of pure elements. As you know, elements are the building basis of all magic. However, there are still many mages who do not understand the difference between categorical magic and pure elements. For instance, Ephraim sat silently, her mind tangled in emotion. Is it guilt? Or sympathy, perhaps? He drove my father to death. Even if he's nice to me now, it only feels fake. If he truly feels he did wrong, then he should reveal his true self to the world and repent. Are you all right, Ephraim? Julia whispered beside her. Oh, what? You don't seem to be doing well. Don't concern yourself over those guys. They don't know how to do anything other than run their mouths. What the hell is she talking about? Ephraim thought, confused. Then she noticed the other girls glaring at her. What's that vermin doing here? One girl sneered. What is she looking at us for? Gross, another muttered. Ephraim let out a dry, humorless laugh. Haha. I really made myself a common enemy of the nobles after that incident. Despite the fact that I'm a noble myself. It's all right, Julia. Those guys are always like that. Let's just focus on the lecture. Decalane's voice carried through the room. The magic circles you have used until now also hold a reasoning in each stroke. But I heard that Decalane's lectures are different. This ignition spell can change color just by adding 2 strokes to the circle, Deculane explained, demonstrating it. That is because these 2 strokes decide the color of the flames. This is what we're going to learn today, flowing fire. Ephraim's suspicions weren't wrong. Originally, Deculane's lectures had been just a way for him to boast using his position as a professor. But the Deculane now, Kim Woo-jin in his body, delivered beautiful demonstrations using mana, creative explanations reflecting elite understanding. The debutantes in the room were stunned. Even Sylvia, who had lost all joy of learning thanks to her innate genius, was left speechless. As you all know, Deculane continued, this magic circle is for summoning water. However, if you combine this with the fire magic circle, it becomes this. It's really flowing. The fire's flowing like water, a student gasped. No way, Sylvia whispered. I didn't know his lectures were so theoretical. Most mages who are called genius use their intuition to cast spells, so theory to them is more like a mold. If all mages prioritize theory, all mages would be the same in a mold. It makes sense. If you focus too much on theory, there's not enough time to learn magic. Trying to understand all magic through theory is very inefficient and gets in the way of training. This is the paradox of magic. In order to become an elite, you have to have good intuition, but elites cannot explain intuition. For someone whose genius is being questioned by the public at the moment to teach such a theory-focused lesson, it's practically impossible. Ha! That was completely different from the rumors, Ephraim sighed. I've never focused so hard on a lecture before. But then she noticed something slipped onto her desk. How long are they going to keep up these stupid pranks? It's gotten worse even after that happening with Sylvia. Huh? It was a sponsorship certificate. Ephraim's eyes narrowed. Whoa, I almost fell for this one. There's no way this is real. Who would sponsor me when I'm hated by both the Illid household and Deculane? This is good, actually. I can report this for being false and get a reward. She examined it. It's real. A woman nearby spoke up. It's not fake. The seal is real. Pardon? Ephraim yelped. Ah! You're lying! It's real? This will surely wake me up. Wake up. Nobody saw me, right? What if people realize that I have 100,000 eln? I better pack an emergency suitcase in case anything happens. Ah, I shouldn't have gone to the magical administration office. The woman gave her a puzzled look. What a strange question. Ephraim panicked. That staff member had a weird look too. Maybe she's after my money. Ah, I should have been much more careful. Ah, that hurts, she muttered, bumping into something. But then, as she clutched the certificate tightly to herself, her expression softened. But I haven't woken up. Someone noticed my talents. The world is still kind. Let's get it together. Try a bit harder. Yariel's voice was sharp with disbelief. Are you really speaking the truth? Yes, the man confirmed. Right now, he's headed to the auction of Shatstenjival. He should have reached there by now. Yariel's expression darkened. He blew 10 million Elni just last year. What kind of disaster is he planning to cause this year? I won't forgive him if he causes more problems. Meanwhile, Deculane was on his way to the auction hall. I'll finally be able to buy something I've been searching for. During my first time using telekinesis as my main magic, I realized I needed some metal to compensate for my lack of talent. The cherished item I have on me right now is made of wood steel, but it's just a temporary patch. What I really need will be available in the auction today. As he arrived, his eyes widened. Shoot, I didn't expect this. I hope you've been well, a familiar voice spoke. Julie stood before him. To think I would meet Julie here. I heard you sent 2 young mages to the disciplinary committee this time, Julie said. That's old news. What about it? Will you attempt to blame that on me as well? They are newly appointed debutantes. Do you intend to crush the dreams of rookies with despair? Your sins will come back to haunt you one day. Do not make the same mistakes you did in the past. That's the last piece of advice I can offer you. The last advice? These are Julie's final words for me. She intends to cut off the relationship she's had with DESTINED. This is good. I feel the same as well. No matter how beautiful she is, I don't want to marry, something I haven't done in my real life, over something so fickle. And around her, there are too many death variables, including herself. If I mess up, I could even die on the day of our marriage. But the Julie I know isn't the type to attend an auction. Did you come all the way to the auction to tell me that? DESTINED asked. Well, what? You're so full of yourself. There's no way I'd come to look for you. Julie blustered. I just came here because I needed something. I mean it. I'm really looking for something. I get it, so calm down, DESTINED replied smoothly. Saying it once is enough for me to understand. How cute. It's the first time I've seen her like that. You misunderstood first, Julie snapped. DESTINED hesitated, sensing something strange. Wait. What's this emotion that I'm feeling? I was just thinking of how dangerous it would be to be around her. Have I been infected with DESTINED's emotions? I've been careful of keeping my personality from being corrupted. An announcement rang out. An announcement to all visitors of Schattenjevel. The auction will begin soon. No, probably not. It's not as if my heart begins to race when I see Julie. Yeah, I'm just overthinking things. The auctioneer stepped up. Presenting the first item, a vase from the East. Be sure to witness its elegant curves made by an artisan from the Far East. That light, it's something I saw when I checked Ephraim's papers. It's wealth magnate. Moreover, the light just gets stronger and stronger. If that's the case, the bidding began. Number 993, 700,000, 1,038, 750,000, 1,300,000. Ah, guessed 1,413, 1,500,000. Oh, guessed 777, 2,500,000. Sold. The vase never lost its light despite climbing so high in price. That means the vase has a higher value than that. I have enough in the bank, so it might not be bad to invest the rest. The auction continued. Ruferen's ring has been sold to guest 777 for 3 million elna. Lucho scissors has been sold for 2.1 million elne to guest 777. Ancient rune necklace has also been sold for 4.3 million elne to guest 777. And this time as well, guest 777 takes the item for 5.5 million eln. Wow! That number 777 guy has been buying everything, a man muttered. Isn't he Professor DESTINED? Another asked. Julie watched from the side, her lips curling in distaste. What a pathetic man. He starved for attention even in a place like this. He's too different from me. I can't believe he would waste so much money for a moment of vanity. I don't understand why he doesn't appreciate the beauty of humility and modesty. Well, let's leave him be. I just need to obtain Winter's fire. The announcer spoke again. Now, here is the final item of today's auction. Many search for it, but it's an item that's near impossible to find. An ore used to forge countless fine swords in the history of the Empire. The magic nature, Winter's fire, the snowflake stone. The snowflake stone, one of the rarest metals in the world. It's typically used to forge swords or other weapons. Like its name, it's a rare and paradoxical item that holds both heat and cold energies. The only items superior to forged swords are legendary items like dragon bones, so the Snowflare Stone is effectively the best ingredient I can get. I'll make sure that I get my hands on it, Julie declared. The bids soared. 10 million, 13 million, 20 million, 25 million. Number 1,890, 30 million eln. Anyone else? Then the item will go to... Nice, I got it, Julie celebrated. Guest 777, 31 million eln. Julie froze. 777. I've heard that number get called so many times today. I can't ignore what he's doing. Why are you doing this, Dekulane? Bin sexen dokus, otuz 2 million elne. Guest 777, 33 million elne, a noble nearby whispered. He's trying to purchase the Snowflare Stone that's used to craft swords. It must be so he can gift it to his fiancée, right? But if he wishes to gift it to her, he could have just allowed her to buy it. He definitely loves her deeply. Huh? Have I been competing with Julie? I guess the Snowflare Stone is something she would be interested in as well. If I take this, she might seriously hold a grudge against me. But I need it too. Julie clenched her fist. This is the first time it's been available in 3 years. Who knows when it'll be available again? I might be at risk, but for my cherished item, I must obtain the Snowflare Stone. The auctioneer's voice rang out through the hall. Last call! Kirk 2 million elne. The owner of the Medal of Magic Snowflare Stone is guest number 777. A murmur of excitement swept through the noble spectators. That was very exciting, one nobleman remarked. Professor Dekulane got it, right? This auction has to be the most competitive auction ever, another agreed. Mr. Frighten was a bit over the line, I have to say, a third commented. Professor Dekulane is working so hard to give his fiancée a gift. He's already seen what he wanted, too. Julie watched bitterly. Once again, we are repeating last year. I never wanted something like that. Dekulane's words echoed in her mind. I can give this all to you if you want. Even more if you'd like. I can do anything for you. Julie thought to herself. The day of our engagement was the worst day of my life. This should entice you to get engaged to me. This is how great I am. That's what he was saying to me. In front of all the riches he showed me, I only felt humiliation. She clenched her fist. You already know what it is that I really want from you. She recalled leaving that room, ruining her own engagement, but that wasn't the end. I heard she was so dignified, but in the end she fell for Dekulane, a woman whispered maliciously. I heard she was promised a Captain Knight position in Ukraine's Knight Order in return. They say she begged for it. Julie knew well who spread those rumors that sullied her image. Does he think I'll return to him if he does something like this? What a fool. He is someone I cannot love, no matter how hard I try. Even this time he's... Dekulane suddenly appeared beside her. Do you also want the Snowflare Stone? Julie's eyes narrowed. How long do you intend on insulting me? I'm sorry, Dekulane interrupted. Julie blinked. What? Now then, if you'll excuse me, he said, turning away. Julie stood there stunned. What? What is he sorry for? For winning the Snowflare Stone? But the Dekulane I know wouldn't apologize. Julie! She turned to see Josephine approaching. Josephine? Get in, Josephine urged. As Julie left, Dekulane thought to himself, I assume Julie wanted to keep the Snowflare Stone for herself. She's probably mad that I bought it instead. It's expected that the death variable didn't appear. How much of a scumbag was Dekulane for her to murder him? Later, Dekulane arrived at his estate. Welcome home, master, a servant greeted. Did something happen? Dekulane asked. Miss Yariel is home. Yariel stormed in, her eyes blazing. That was supposed to pay for the mines. Is this what you took it for? No wonder her personal account had so much money. I didn't pay enough attention. Don't worry, I bought something that will bring in profits, Dekulane replied. You're treating me like a garbage can, Yariel spat. Goodness, this isn't good, Dekulane mused. Do you think I'm meant to clean up after the messes you make? Yariel continued. We're already not doing so well financially, and the workers here and I are all working so hard to try and keep us afloat, but you just went ahead and spent all of that money? Just what kind of piece of shit do you have to be to gamble with the money that belongs to the estate? Shit. Villain's fate is being activated, but that golden light through her red aura. Wealthy magnate is being activated too. The meaning of that is simple. If I don't get through this situation, I'll die. But if I do, it'll bring in a lot of money. I know the answer to this problem. Don't worry, Yariel. Shut up. Do I look like I'm worried right now? I have to work hard to make up for what you've done. Do you think this is what I want to do? Do you even know that I gave up on university and didn't get to date because of you? You didn't need to. What are you talking about? She shouted. You've done nothing but waste our money ever since our parents passed away, and now you've used up 150 million elni in one day? I'll give you the household head position. Yariel froze. What did you just... I said I will give you the household head position, Yariel. What? Cut the bullshit. That's no way for a noble to talk, especially a household head. Don't lie to me. I don't lie. I can swear if you don't trust me. What? Swear? You mean like the mage's oath? The one that kills you if you break it? Are you serious? Yes. But this makes no sense. Why? And it's all so sudden. Did you hit your head somewhere? You don't have to believe me if you don't want to. I'm gonna kill you if you go back on your word. Do you intend on leaving right away? Of course. Somebody here wasted all our money at the auction, so I have to do something about it. Villain's fate overcame death variable. Deculane sighed as she left. It's like a storm has passed by. At least nothing bad happened. There's no problem in handing over the position to her. If I keep changing things one by one like this, I'll be able to You really meant it when you said you're going to change. Deculane turned. Ganesha? An unwanted guest. Sorry, I was just dropping by. What I saw was just too shocking. Is there a reason to be shocked? She'd do a better job being the household head. But still, Yariel von Grahan Eucline doesn't have a single drop of Eucline blood at all. Deculane stiffened. What is she talking about? I don't remember this being in the game. Ganesha revealed a truth Deculane hadn't expected. Yariel, the woman long assumed to be a half-sister, didn't share even a single drop of blood with the Eucline family. Deculane had known she wasn't his biological sister, but this was new. He quietly acknowledged, Yariel is set to be a half-sister. I was already aware that she wasn't Deculane's biological sister. However, she doesn't share even a single drop of blood with the Euclines? I've never heard anything about this. Ganesha, sensing his disbelief, reminded him, is this really all right? To begin with, you're the one that requested this of us, Professor, to determine whether you and your sister have any blood relations. I'm sure we discussed this. A slow, dawning thought passed through Deculane's mind. So there was this kind of background, he mused. Yet, even so, it changed nothing for him. Yariel is Yariel. Ganesha blinked, momentarily taken aback. Wow, you're surprising me quite a lot today. I didn't think you'd say something like that. Deculane's gaze was steady. I could say the same. I didn't know this kind of background existed. With a faint grin, Ganesha promised, all right, I'll make sure to protect the secret regarding your sister. Just one more thing before I leave. I've heard that the 6 snakeheads have begun to move. At the mention of those notorious names, Deculane stiffened internally. 6 snakeheads. They are the leaders of infamous criminal organizations within this continent. Their notoriety is at a level such that each one of them has a bounty on their heads worth 7 million. Ganesha warned him, they're after the items bought from the auction house. Even if the auction house manages to deliver them safely, you'll have to keep your guard up the moment they arrive at your residence. It feels like you've been neglecting magical defenses a lot recently, Professor. That's why I can get in so easily, too. Well then. As she left, Deculane sighed. That was something I didn't need to know. Knowing it changes nothing. From the beginning, I am not Deculane. My treatment of Yariel wouldn't change whether she's my biological sister or not. Yariel will always be Deculane's sister. So let's just hide the truth. Outside, Ganesha chuckled to her men. I'm telling you it's true. Professor Deculane has changed a lot. It's almost like another person's wearing his skin. He's completely different now. One of her subordinates teased, Even that scum looks different now that he's saying such sweet things. Another ribbed, "You're just a sucker for handsome men, Captain. You'd like him regardless of what he says." Snorting, Ganesha threatened, "Then I should just tear you apart since you're so ugly," the man protested. "Grandma said I'm handsome, though." Without missing a beat, Ganesha scoffed. "Some hot guy was walking behind you then. You idiot." Another voice, Raeliel's, chimed in curiously. "Since you're saying Dekulane has a human side to him now?" Ganesha shrugged. "Anyway, we won't have to watch Dekulane anymore. I wanted to ask him if he's still looking for a magic slave, but it didn't seem like it at all. Now let's head back, shall we?" "Ah, also everything you heard today is a secret. You better keep quiet about all of this." Meanwhile, Dekulane turned his attention back to his own concerns. Now I'll finally be able to use the system store, but I still don't have enough currency to actually buy anything I need. This system allows you to use store currency to strengthen your character, as you can improve not just your player character, but also any named character using this store. There are only a few options to be able to use the system store. You'll only have 6 chances by the end of the second half. The reason is because while you can only use the store once per level, every time your level goes up, the amount you need to spend will increase by a factor of 2. I can't rush and waste this valuable opportunity. He mentally noted his efforts. I'm consistently training memorization, physical training, Qi-controlled levitating blades, and so on by integrating them in my routine. But I'm still lacking in combat strength compared to infamous named villains. For the sake of my growth, what I need now is improvements in mana quality. I'll have to hurry up and gather the 4 store currency I need. His thoughts were interrupted by a knock. "Come in." Alan entered nervously. "Hello, Professor." "Take a look, sir. I received it just now. I think you'll need to be careful. This was published in today's issue of Wizard Journal." Dekulane took the paper and read it. The headline was alarming. "Wanted. Lockhart." The blurb read, "There have been eyewitness reports of wizard killer Lockhart in the outskirts. Please avoid going outside." Dekulane smirked. "Wizard Lockhart? He's the greatest danger to mage players in the first quarter of the game. So this guy's started appearing, has he? Of course, if I were a normal mage, he would pose a danger to me. But as I am now, I have no cause for concern. This might rather prove an opportunity to earn store currency, so I hope I end up bumping into him. There's no need to worry about a wizard killer. I'll be heading to the library, so you should head back as well." Alan hesitated. Yes, Professor?" Then Dekulane added, "Ah, right. Alan, do you have any intentions to become an assistant professor?" The assistant sputtered, "Huh? Well, of course. Oh! Do you mean to recommend me as an assistant professor? But you always told me that I lack talent." Dekulane spoke plainly. "I'm asking now that I've seen how earnest you are. Though it's really only because I received a notice telling me to pick an assistant professor." Alan stammered, But enough questions. Just take this." Dekulane handed him a bangle with the Euclid emblem engraved on it. "Continue to work hard." Alan clutched it, stunned. Thank you very much, Professor," Dekulane thought to himself. Alan's ability to organize documents and perform miscellaneous errands is excellent. Alan gazed at the emblem, his eyes wide. Wow, a bangle with the Euclid emblem engraved on it? Dekulane smirked inwardly. He'll be useful, so I can't just let him run off. All those that begrudged Dekulane's cruelty couldn't bear it and left. Yet Alan has been doing all kinds of work by himself. Who knows when he might run away too? Turn in early for today and buy dinner with this. Alan flinched at the generous payment. Huh? Professor, this is too much. But Dekulane had already moved on. He made his way to the library with a clear purpose. The reason I came to the library was because of Luna's paper. The paper I found in the laboratory was on the invention of pure elements. However, there were too many errors and holes, so I must make up for them. It'd be nice if I could manage to come across any useful manipulation-related grimoires as well. However, upon entering, his gaze settled on a familiar figure. Why are you inside the staff-only library, debutante Sylvia? Sylvia glanced up, caught in the act. 10 minutes earlier, in the staff office of the library. Yes, Professor. Miss Sylvia here says she's looking for her study materials. It is an exclusive reading room for the executives, however. Relin chuckled lightly. Haha, no matter. There's no need to restrict the successor of Illady and this year's rookie mage. Let her use it freely since it's for her studies. The staff member turned to Sylvia. He said, "It's fine, Miss Sylvia. Please feel free to browse at your leisure." Sylvia nodded politely. Her true hobby wasn't in the expected arcane studies, but in literature and languages. She had come all the way to the executive reading room seeking a specific book that would satisfy both interests. The novel she eventually found was written in Ethanel, a language rendered rare with the disappearance of the fairies and its literature now precious beyond measure. That was the sole reason she visited this restricted room. What she didn't expect was to cross paths with Decoline. "Why are you in the executive reading room? Do you want the disciplinary committee to convene again?" Decoline's voice cut sharply. Sylvia's heart jumped. "Decoline? Why is he here? I clearly remember hearing that he doesn't even go near libraries." "I'm here because I'm looking for a certain document," she replied, regaining composure. "I've already gotten permission from Professor Relin." That would mean the professor ignored the school regulations and the librarian condoned it. In that case, they also deserve to be disciplined. "Pardon? That's... Huh?" Decoline's eyes narrowed, reading the cover in her hands. "An Ethanel novel, Your purpose in violating the regulation was to find a romance novel written by Ethanel?" Sylvia stammered. "Huh? How can you even read the Ethanel language? Wait, that's not the important part. It's because I'm interested in literature and languages. I'll let it slide this time. However, if you come here again without proper permission, I'll take disciplinary measures. So unless your goal is to flaunt your family's influence, send someone else to borrow a book." Sylvia felt humiliated. "I just wanted to understand the fairies through novels written in Ethanel." But how did Decoline read Ethanel? Ethanel lacks consistency, making it difficult to read. Outside in the training grounds, "Hey, it went that way. Don't let it go. Put that on the leaf." "Okay." Retlin watched the students. It's their first practical training, yet everyone seems composed. "I guess they're not afraid of the mountain of darkness." Relin smiled proudly. "The training will have to stop by night, but still, I'm proud of them." The mountain of darkness. Decoline observed from afar. It lay a bit away from the university grounds but was vital, a forest rich in magical materials and a hazardous training ground patrolled by professors. A place where danger lurks with beasts and venomous creatures, protected only by barriers and a watchful eye. Relin called out, "Oh, right. Head Professor Decoline, the on-duty professor for this week, hasn't been decided yet. We need to appoint someone. Who do you think is appropriate?" "I'll do it," Decoline replied without hesitation. "As expected of the head professor, seeing you take the lead makes you the epitome of what a professor should be." "It's not for a noble reason like that," Decoline thought. "Something's pulling me there. It must be why I was given a side quest. What's about to happen in the mountain that turns this game into horror at night?" Relin's voice rose. "Now everyone start packing up. Goodbye, Professor." "All right, I'll see you next time." 9 hours later, at a cafe near the Magic Tower. To be continued. We'll cover the next story very soon. Stay tuned. If you like the story, let me know in the comments.